shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who is fearless. A young loner on a crusade to champion the cause in a world of reckless automobiles. These are my motovlogs.
What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Chris, out on the Goldwing. And today I'm just out here testing out my new K&N Air Filter that I installed on my Honda Goldwing. But it's a chilly morning, but I got my Folgers in the cup, and I'm wearing my hot wired heated gear, and I'm snug like a bug in a rug. And once again, I ain't no thug.
What?
So I'm just out here testing out this K&N Air Filter that I installed on my Honda Goldwing. I believe that replacing the air filter on your Honda Goldwing is one of the worst routine scheduled maintenance jobs that a Goldwing owner can perform. I actually believe that it discourages motorcycle owners in changing their air filter. So they either take their bike to a shop or let the dealer change their air filter, or they actually just go past the mileage on their routine scheduled maintenance.
What?
Changing out the air filter is tough, and I think that that's one of the reasons why some motorcycle owners neglect their wing, because they know to change out the air filter is one big job. And I think the dealer charged somewhere in the neighborhood of about $500, somewhere around 5 hours labor, book time.
What?
And some of you may know, if you have gotten a quote on getting your air filter changed, what did they actually charge you to change your filter? Or what have been the price of getting your air filter changed where you live? I think here in my area, it's been somewhere around about $500, 5 hours book labor on changing out the air filter. So again, it just discourages bikers, I believe, in my opinion, to do their own work. But as you can see, it can be done. The first time I actually paid the dealer to change my air filter.
What?
But I said that was going to be the last time. I don't know why I did it. I guess I was being lazy myself.
Yeah!
But I knew that at some point I was going to have to change my air filter. So you either going to have to pay someone to do it, or you're going to have to do it yourself. When you do it yourself, you know it's done right. You know that you used new parts. And it gives you self-gratification knowing that you did your own maintenance. And I also changed out the plugs as well on my Goldwing. It was that time. Honda recommends that you change out your spark plug every 16,000 miles. So the question that I have for my audience today is, what type of air filter do you use on your Goldwing or on your motorcycle? Do you use the dealers or the manufacturer's OEM stock filter, or do you use the K&N air filter? And if you use the K&N air filter, have you had any issues? Not what you've heard, not what you've read, but what you have experienced. Have you had any issues with your K&N filter? Over the last few days, I've been just kind of reading some of the reviews and some of the comments about the K&N filter. And when I read these reviews, I try to arrive at a consensus. I try to take into account what several bikers have said about one item. So I tried to see, is there similarities in the stories as it relates to the K&N air filter? And I think one of the biggest concerns about the K&N air filter is that dirt can get into the engine, because once your K&N filter gets dirty, it pulls the particles off the air filter into the engine. And I think that was some of the concerns that I was reading in some of the reviews. And I think that one of the reasons why this could be happening, I'm not saying that it is or it has happened. I believe that when it comes to cleaning the air filter, that some of the K&N owners don't give their filter time enough to dry. They just clean it and slap it back into the bike. Maybe they're not doing a proper drying, or maybe that they may be adding too much oil, or they may not be adding enough oil. I don't know.
What?
But I was thinking, as it relates to my bike, one of the things that I would probably do, and I'm not saying that you should do this if you use a K&N filter, even though that the K&N is washable and it's reusable and you can recharge it after you clean it, I think that one of the things that I may do, I may just buy a new filter once the filter gets dirty. It is a 50,000 mile filter, so I should be able to go at least 3 times further on a K&N than I could on a Honda OEM filter. I want to show you the box that my K&N filter actually came in, and I want to read what it says on the box. Right here it says, clean every 50,000 miles. This filter requires cleaning every 50,000 miles for highway use, more often in dusty condition or for the lowest restriction. For detailed cleaning instruction, visit knfilters.com/cleaning. Clean every 50,000 miles. Now, some of you may be asking yourself, why would you buy a reusable filter and then discard it when it gets dirty and buy another filter? Well, when you think about it, when you look at the price of an OEM filter, which is somewhere around about $40, somewhere between 35 and 40 bucks for an OEM filter on wingstuff.com. I'm not sure what they charge at the dealership. If you guys know what they charge for an OEM filter at the dealership, put that down in the comment section below as well. But when you look at the difference in price from an OEM filter to a K&N, it's not really that big of a difference. You're looking at, for a disposable paper OEM filter, let's just say 40 bucks. And when you're looking at a K&N reusable filter, you're looking at somewhere around 70 bucks. So that's not really that big of a difference in price. To spend $40 and discard it, it's not big. That's not that much of a difference from spending $70 and discarding it. Now, I do have the option to wash it and clean it and recharge it. I do have that option. But after reading a lot of reviews, I'm wondering, should I just replace the K&N filter after it gets dirty, or should I wash it and recharge it? And I think some of the problem comes in when you clean the filter and recharge it. I think that's where some of the people that maybe had a bad experience is that they didn't properly clean it, or maybe they didn't properly dry it, or they didn't properly charge it.
What she's doing is applying the specific amount of oil that's necessary for that cotton gauze pleated pleat pack. Every filter goes through our dirt filtration lab and gets an ISO 5011 test, which is how they rate the efficiency of a filter. Okay? And we run that on every product that we make to verify that it's within a tolerance, within the OE tolerance of what is necessary to protect the engine. Okay? Again, you look at that and it's just got this little band of oil on there, right? But that is the specific ounces of oil necessary to fully migrate. That filter will be completely red in 24 hours. We've been known to make filters in the morning and they're shipped in the afternoon, but they won't go into somebody's car at least for 24 hours. And we know it'll be fully migrated and it'll be prepared and ready for operation.
If I buy a new K&N every time I do an air filter change, what would it hurt? If the original paper filter only lasts 16,000 miles and a K&N will last 50,000 miles before it needs recharging, that's about 2 to 3 times longer than a OEM filter. That's less times that I have to go in the bike to actually change that filter out. So I don't know, the jury is still out. I may even buy a second K&N filter, and when the one that I put in the bike gets dirty, I may take it out and put a new one in, And that'll give me all the time in the world to clean the first K&N, to dry it, and to properly charge it. So I do have that option. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do yet. I don't know if I'm just going to replace the K&N every time that I do an air filter change, or if I'm just going to buy a second one, put it on the shelf, and just swap them out, or if I'm going to go back to a paper filter. I don't know. So my question that I have for my audience, and for any of you that's watching this video, is what has been your experience with the K&N air filter? Not what you've read, not what you have heard, but what you have experienced. What has been your experience?
What?
Because everybody has a different experience, and it's a lot of reviews out there and a lot of comments out there about the K&N, but what has been your actual experience? Not what happened to your friend's bike, not what happened to your coworker's bike. I mean, what happened to your personal experience with the K&N? And again, when it comes to air filters, Honda recommend that you go back with the paper OEM filter. But when you think about it, Honda is always going to recommend their products because they manufactured the bike. So can you blame them? I don't. So is having a K&N filter actually worth it? I mean, I really can't tell the difference because most of my riding is just touring. I'm not really doing any high performance riding. I'm not really speeding. I'm just cruising and touring. I'm making videos. I'm just out here enjoying the ride. So for me, at this point, I can't tell the difference with the K&N. Now, the bike sounds a little bit different. It sounds a little bit more aggressive. But I can't really tell the difference in the performance. Now, of course, I haven't put the bike on a dyno to see what the dyno is saying. If I have increased horsepower, or if I get better fuel mileage, which I will be testing out at a later time, the MPG, will I get better fuel mileage on this K&N than a paper filter? I don't know. The jury is still out. Now, am I saying that the K&N is not worth it? I'm not saying that. Am I saying that you should use the Honda OEM filter? Well, according to Honda, you should, but I'm not saying that either. But I believe with the K&N that the engine would breathe better. So I'm just out here testing it out today. I'm just out here cruising, out here rambling on the Goldwing. Let me get a little sip of this Folgers coffee. It's kind of chilly this morning. That's delicious. I grew up on Folgers coffee, y'all. My daddy used to drink it. But anyway, I'm just out here testing it out, just trying to see how she's performing. I'm trying to see, can I tell the difference with this K&N? It sounds a little bit more aggressive, but at this point, I can't tell if there's any more horsepower. Not with my style of riding. I don't generally put my bike on the track and do high-speed riding on the Goldwing. So, but anything that will make my engine breathe better, I think would be good for my Goldwing. But what has been your experience? What have you experienced with the K&N filter? Or have you always just used a paper filter? What has been your experience? And the next question that I have for you is, will you attempt to change your own air filter, or will you pay a mechanic or a dealer to do the job for you? Will you change your own air filter? And I was reading some of the comments, and some people said that they wouldn't do it, and they couldn't do it, and they didn't have the patience. But what is your thoughts about changing out your own air filter? Does that discourage you as a motorcycle owner to do maintenance on your bike? Is because the filter is deeply embedded within the Goldwing? Some people have even said that Honda threw a paper filter on the ground and built the Goldwing around it.
What?
And I tell you what, man, after changing out my air filter, I can almost understand why people would say that. But does that discourage you to do maintenance on your bike because the air filter is so deeply embedded within the Goldwing? Do you feel like the air filter should be in a better position than down in the center of the bike where it's hard to get to?
Yeah!
What is your thoughts? What is your opinion about this subject? Will you use the stock filter, or will you use the K&N filter?
What?
Well, anyway, I'm just out here rambling on the Goldwing, just out here testing it out, after changing out the filter and putting in a fresh set of plugs, NGK plugs that I picked up from wingstuff.com. I'm just out here cruising, having a good time. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. If you guys have any questions or any comments, feel free to put them down in the comment section below. If you haven't already, subscribe to this YouTube channel. This is your boy Chris, out on the Goldwing, just out here testing out my K&N air filter that I installed to see would I be able to tell the difference in performance.
Yeah!
And I will, as always. And I will talk to you guys later. See you.
K&N success. K&N filters were invented in 1969 by Ken and Norm, K&N.
Right.
And they were using them on motorcycles that they rented on the beach. And after a day, the filters would be plugged up, the engines would stop running. So they had to come up with a way to wash filters, reuse them. They couldn't take and put brand new filters on them every day. So that's where they invented the K&N filter, and it's just expanded from there.
Clean every 50,000 miles.